Hey divas, welcome back to Women Unleash, where our inner strength meets unapologetic confidence. We are still in our month 6, and this week we'll be rounding up month 6, where we'll be talking about wellness and inner balance. Remember at the beginning of the year, we said this year we want to focus first on ourselves because this vessel carrying the vision needs to be nurtured. We need to protect this vessel. We need to nurture this vessel. We need to fill this vessel because we can't pour from an empty jar. And some of the things we've been talking about, one of them was rest. Last week, we talked about what? We talked about emotional mastering. So this week, we'll be talking about a skill and a practice that will be good for us. It helps anchors all that we've been talking about, and that is mindfulness. I talk about that a lot because it's been a great source of strength for me, and I believe it's a good practice, and it will help us, both as women, as men, as girls, as young ones, and elderly ones. It will really help us, and it doesn't cost anything. All it takes is consistency and being conscious, just creating that time for you to take time to pause, and to breathe. So I have some definition here. So what is mindfulness? So mindfulness is the practice of paying full, gentle attention to the present moment. What you're doing, what you're feeling, and what's happening around you without judging yourself. Mindfulness is being aware of yourself. It's about awareness. You're aware of the situation. You're noticing your thoughts. You're noticing everything that you're going through. It's about not being judgmental to yourself. You want to take that 5 minutes to breathe, to just forget about everything that is happening around you. Yes, you've got deadlines to meet, but you just want to take a pause and breathe and just live in that 5 minutes. Just be quiet and let go of every stress that is around you without feeling, guilty for doing that to yourself. Mindfulness, we also said what? It's intentional, choosing to focus rather than drifting on autopilot. Yeah, the world is very busy and everything is going, autopilot, just boom, 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 boom. But it's always good for us to take a pause. And that is how we can live long. We talked about taking a break. We talked about resting. We talked about caring for our body, our spirit, our soul. This is one of the ways of caring, for our mind, because practicing mindfulness helps with clarity. So as usual, I've divided this into 3 topics using our worksheet, to break the topics down. And the first one I said, embracing mindfulness as inner strength. Is a strength that we all need, as women, like I said. And like I said, in a busy world where everything is constantly moving, mindfulness teaches us to slow down intentionally. You slow down internally, even when life remains busy externally. You slow down, you take a pause, you just rest, It is the confidence to remain centered when demands pull in multiple directions. When you are present, you respond rather than react, which is true. Because when you are present, when you take your time to pause, you will weigh your words before you respond. But when you're always going autopilot, non-stop, broom, broom, you don't think before you talk. And we always say words are like egg. When you break the egg, you want to bake a cake or you want to fry. Once you crack the egg and it pours, you can't pack it back. You can't mold it back. No, it's gone. And that's how words are. And when you say something, you can't take it back. No matter how much apology that you make to that person, you can never take those words back. The damage has been made. You might be forgiven, the person might let go, but you can't forgive yourself sometimes, for altering those words or reacting in the way that was below your standard. And this is why mindfulness is good, because it helps us, clear our minds every now and again. When you're present, you respond rather than react, and you reclaim authority over your inner state and even over things happening around you. Okay. So just like I said, why practice mindfulness? One of the things we said, it reduces stress. It helps clarity. Yeah. It helps us focus better. We've got deadlines we need to meet. You take that 5 minutes or that 2 minutes just to pause, just to let go, just to breathe, inhale and exhale out the stress. You will find out that you're more refreshed. And when you go back to your table to carry on with your job, there's clarity. You're able to even finish your work faster, and meet up with your deadlines. I said mindfulness does not require more time, it requires more attention. So mindfulness needs attention. And there are so many apps that talk about, free apps we can download on our phone, even on the laptop. You can just go to it. Even if you don't want, if you're not, a screen person, or you don't want to listen to something to do your mindfulness, you can just pause, take that minute, and then just meditate, just ponder, or just stay in your own quietness, in that still small voice. And in that moment, when you're quiet, like I said, you receive clarity. God speaks to you clearer. You get you get answers to some difficult things that you've been battling with, and that's really good, because we need to be clear mentally. We need to work on that, and this is one of the ways that we're going to be working on that. So another topic I talk about, how to practice mindfulness in our daily routine. And this I added to it because what I finished cooking today, so I was so stressed, I was tired, so went to sleep. Like I said, I was going to be consciously taking time to just go and have a nap. So I went to have a nap, came back, and I needed to cook. So I just made this funny kind of rice, and I told my son, my 5-year-old, it was turkey jollof rice, Everything was mixed together, chopped the turkey, fried the sauce, boiled the rice, poured everything, Back when I was younger, we call it concussion rice. But when I said it, do you understand what I meant? So I said it's turkey jollof rice, because there was turkey meat inside. I said we can even do chicken jollof rice, So, and when he was eating it was conscious of every single thing. Mommy, this rice is very soft. Did you put onions in it? I can taste the onions. I can smell the dates. The turkey is very soft and succulent. This is so yummy. And I thought, and that is it. Sometimes you rush the food, even you that you've cooked the food, and you can practice mindfulness even while you're eating. You rush the food, you don't even know what it tastes like, you don't know what it smells like, you don't know what the texture is. You just rush it because as you're eating it, your mind is in 20 places. As women, you're cooking 20 things at the same time, you're eating at the same time, you're washing the dishes at the same time, and your mind is in 20 different places. It's just working without rest. And I decided to do what he was doing. I was conscious, and I became conscious of what I was eating, and I could feel the flavor. I could actually taste what I was eating. That it was, even though I did it in a rush, it was actually delicious. It was tasteful. It was soft, and I could relate with him. And those are one of the ways of practicing mindfulness. Be conscious when you're eating. You can be having a cup of coffee. Feel the warmth of that mug when you hold that mug or that tea. Taste every texture, everything in that coffee. Be able to taste it, feel it, and then just enjoy and savor that few minutes that you're taking that coffee. It takes your mind away of every stress. Those are ways of practicing mindfulness. It's not something so big that that we need to create 1 hour for, schedule time. Every 5 o'clock I need to go and do my mindfulness. You just put it in your daily routine. Some other examples I said when you're eating, eat with awareness. Notice the taste, the texture, and the nourishment. When you walk, feel your body movement, connect with the ground, feel the atmosphere. Notice the smell of all, the trees, the flowers, the fresh air, be present at that moment that you're, taking your walk, or you're doing, or you're doing what you're doing, When you do your normal work, focus on one task at a time. As much as possible, if that is possible for you, focus on one task, be conscious of it, be conscious of what you're doing. Sometimes you are doing this, you might be preparing for example, those of us that are students, you're preparing um for your maths exam. But as you're studying, you're also thinking about the English or the citizenship exam or that exam or that exam. And at the end of the day, realize that you spend that 1 hour. You have not assimilated anything because your mind is just, everywhere. Your mind is wandering. And mindfulness teaches us to just take a chill pill. Slow down, be conscious of what you're doing, be conscious of, and be present at that moment. I said these moments may seem small, but they retain the mind to remain grounded. Over time, the presence becomes a habit rather than an effort, and which is true because over time, when you keep practicing it, when you're eating, you're conscious of what you're eating. You want to feel the texture, you want to taste it, you want to feel what be present for that 10 minutes you're going to be having your meal. Gradually becomes an habit, or you're drinking, or you're walking, or you're doing your daily tasks, you're conscious of that moment. Or you want to take a time, early in the morning, you want to pause to just take a deep breath in and then exhale all the negative energies, all the stress, just be conscious and just be present. Finally, I said mindfulness reduces distraction and creates quiet. So mindfulness also requires space, like we said. So this week we're going to consider where distractions has quietly replaced intention. So this week, as we go, think about things that take away your attention, that distract you, they just make you wallow. Create brief periods of intentional quietness. Like I said, take some time, as you go each day, might be beginning of your day or the end of the day, middle of the day. Just consciously pick maybe 5 minutes in a day where you want to just be still. Just enjoy your time to yourself, your quiet presence. So, divas, as we round up this month, I want to remind us from what, because we said our key message is, we said presence is power. Your peace begins now. So as we step into this week, give yourself permission to slow down. Notice what peace feels like in your body, in your spirit, in your soul. Take time to just pause, relax, and reset. This life that you're running after, it will still be there when you wake up tomorrow morning. Take time to slow down. Take time to nurture yourself and be the best that you are meant to be. Love you. See you at the top.